Alright guys, be here back with more Fist of the North Star, probably the last episode for today. But yeah, we're gonna continue on the main story. We spent pretty much all of last episode just prepping. We got all the talismans sorted out, we did some other stuff, I don't remember what the other stuff was, we got new supplies, all that shit. What are we doing? Oh, am I supposed to talk to people? Okay. Oh, this is part of the open world? Oh, I never even noticed that. That's cool. I mean, to be fair, it's like basic game design, but like for Fist of the North Star, a game made by Yakuza Zero, I feel like that's pretty good. Fuck, my Life is Strange still hasn't shipped yet. That's kind of annoying. It says it's gonna arrive on Saturday, which is really annoying. It's like, why is it taking that long? Fuck, I just spent all my money. God damn it. Well, if I knew that, then I wouldn't have done it. Well, shit. What do I do here, then? I guess I have to make money. How much do you get for doing random encounters? I guess we're about to figure out. It's only 2,000, right?
Hundred Fist Rush! You're already dead.
I might have to do a sub-story if this takes forever. Or if it's like... We'll see how much money we get from this. I think it's only a few thousand. If it is, then 9,000? Okay, that's more than I thought. Alright, we'll just do some random encounters then. It's only like 2 more. That took forever to load. Yeah, I mean, it's only like 2 more random encounters. I guess we'll do it that way. Actually, wait, what's the treasure map thing anyway? I really don't care enough.
I'm so happy for you.
Ow! Ow! Take a look. Whoa! I wonder who's competing today.
There's some. What?
Give all your being to Kyoto!
Still listening to the podcast.
Now, I haven't seen it myself, but if they did indeed get swimwear, then that's definitely not a harder Survivor season because having a change of clothes goes far.
Okay, so I had seen a lot of articles about how they were not yet, they had not gotten their bathing suits, and it was like people were saying like look, this is actually like a health issue not having the bathing suits. I know you guys didn't have it, but this Tyler Perry said that's not such a hot idea.
Come on, TD. Come on, man, work with me, Tyler.
Mike White wouldn't suggest something like that.
No, he would not, man. Especially not with the White Lotus. You know, you gotta have those swim trunks and have that, you know.
So Tommy Guam says, let me ask two of my questions into one. What has a better chance, Davey being in a second season of Survivor or Davey being in season 2 of The White Lotus?
I think the former. Maybe another season of Survivor. I mean, guys, I thought about the whole acting route, but I think I'm more safe. I don't know. Maybe I feel more comfortable in the voice acting route.
Yes. Okay, so maybe if there's an animated White Lotus.
If there's an animated White Lotus, and you know, Mike has done some animated features, so hopefully he'll think about it.
And Alec was good in that.
Alec was so good at that, man. I hung out with him last month for my birthday. It's kind of become a tradition that I'll go out to San Diego for my birthday weekend. My best friend lives out there, and Kara, Alec, and Natalia and Angelina live out there, so I'll hang out with them, and he was just giving me all the behind-the-scenes stuff, man. He really did his thing. I can't wait to see what else is next for him.
Okay. What about you with voice acting?
Oh, man, dude, voice acting's been coming pretty good for me this year. I have booked a few gigs. I booked a gig with Spotify last month for my McDonald's commercial. So if you guys are listening to Spotify and you hear a McDonald's commercial or a Best Buy commercial, that might be my voice. You may be able to identify it. So I've been booking good gigs with paper plays and things like that, but I still need some type of management. Hopefully once this Netflix hits and they see what kind of, see what range I have out there and how charismatic I am, some people will start reaching out to me and I'll be able to do more with it. But I think I'm in a good place for it now. I'm here in Atlanta where there's a lot of opportunities here. So yeah, man, sky's the limit. I'm real big on manifesting things, and I want to be able to manifest some secure work when it comes to voice acting in my future.
So I'm interested in, because I don't really know a lot about that business. How do people find you? Do you have to apply for different, are there people that are looking for voice actors, or do people find your stuff?
So I mean, be progressive. You have to kind of reach out to these talent agencies. They have applications where you can apply. You'll give them your credentials, and if they want to work with you, they'll tell you. I mean, you'll give them your demo and all of that type of thing. If they want to work out with you, then they'll reach out to you. But who knew that voice acting was such a saturated career field? So I'm still working at it, but we're manifesting it, and hopefully I'll find the right representation here in Atlanta where I can go mainstream.
Yeah, now, do you mostly read as yourself, or do you do any voices?
Yeah, I don't really do impersonations like JD and Reem.
Or characters,
Our characters. I mean, I will. I have a bit of a range where I can do deep voice, high voice, my voice. I can do that here and there. I'll try to do accents. I can do kind of please don't ask me to do it right here, Rob, but I can do a bit of a Jamaican accent or an island accent here or there. But as far as that, I'm still working on my craft, and I take voice acting courses. So hopefully, in the long run, I'll be able to have more range.
Cool. So here's a question from Tommy Guam, who says, Tommy Guam had another question. What has Davey thought about Jeff saying no returnee season for a while? Davey is the number one person that I want to see in another season. Now, he said it's more likely that you'd be back on Survivor than in the White Lotus too. But Jeff said, okay, we're done with the pre-season 40 people for a while.
You know what, Rob? I'm going to shock everyone. It doesn't bother me that much, only because yeah, we're going into this new era of Survivor. It's a new game. It's 26 days. I wouldn't mind them, rebranding and making it this new thing. Hey, I got to play Survivor. I got to have my dream. My dream come true. Of course, I didn't win the million, but I mean, I got to do it. And that's one thing about me, and one thing about other Survivor players. I see a lot of Survivor players who get too cool for Survivor, and they can't post about it. They can't go on the podcast. They can't do cameos. Well, I'm not that guy. I get to live Survivor every day of my life. I'm going to tweet too much about it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. So, I mean, I'd be okay with it. But, I mean, I would love to come back.
Yeah.
And I don't think that
just
Jeff
let
is
me
going
be.
to double.
If they find out who I
Said he
am,
wasn't
they'll
going to
throw
have
me
a
out of
winners
the
at
city.
war, and then that happened.
I was
think
finally
that in
able
the
to
future,
land a
maybe not in the
legit
next 4
job,
seasons,
and the boss
but
is actually starting to
definitely
take me
gonna,
seriously.
drop that. And maybe that's a way to bring 39 days back
I'm
whenever we
sorry.
have a returning season.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Whatever.
Look, maybe like if they
So,
were gonna retire like
what about
the
the
old
army?
guard, like a lot of
Do
the
you
people
know where
that
they're at?
have played like the
What are you
Robs
planning
and
to do?
Sandras and
Yeah.
Marty
I'm going
and
to see
like
Kirby.
I understand it's like okay, well that's
Are you
but
serious?
there's so many people from the
Yeah.
30s that didn't really get
Oh,
a second
yeah.
chance
You're the
to
guy that
play
beat 'em back,
that
right? You doing this to keep the peace?
there's no way that they say like okay they're like okay that's the drop the
Fine.
first 40 seasons.
The
We're
Army
only
of
going to
Ruins
cast all stars
always
from
moving
the
around.
last
Or at
4
least they were
seasons
when
that
I
we've
was
had.
with 'em.
Right, man. Hey, even if
We
they
just
want
keep
to
moving
go as
and
far
moving,
as to,
and then we'd stop in the middle of the
give us,
desert.
you
It's
know
one
how
of
the
the
challenge
reasons I
has challenged
left.
our stars on Paramount?
Well,
If they
maybe
wanna
they'd
go as far as
eventually
to
take
throw
us
on
somewhere nice and
Paramount,
cozy.
that'd be cool.
Oh,
you
Okay,
boy,
know?
yeah.
was
Do a
I
Survivor
wrong.
season with the only on CBS. You can see
It was
new
all
players.
just
with
camping
the
in the
All-Star
desert all
seasons
the
on Paramount
fucking
Plus.
I'd be
time.
down for that.
Thank God
Yeah.
Eden
I mean,
opened up those gates.
that's interesting.
That's all
that-
you know.
Because what's the difference? Where
your
you
horses,
have
I'm
the
getting
MTV's
to it.
airing new seasons,
I've
but they
heard
have like some
rumors that
seasons
there's
on
someone
Paramount
who
Plus.
decides where they stay.
There was some talk about
Who?
at one point that there were going to be 3 Survivor
some old-timer
seasons
they
that
called
they were going
the
to shoot
Sage
the
of the
year
Desert.
when they were like
I
talking about
remember hearing that.
I wonder
Not
if,
sure
if something
why,
like that would be
but
like,
whenever
hey,
he
2
visits,
seasons for
there's an order
CBS
to
and 1
move
for
out.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah, do
Where
it.
can I
mean,
find
we
him?
see that it's possible with MTV.
Oh, interesting. So they announced that tomorrow's going to be, so the state of play is going to be on Will Double Inside.
Before this conversation, Dave.
Man, let's do it, man. Start the petition.
Okay.
That's it. There's really
Maybe,
like there's not going to be any
Lead,
rules for that.
AKA 420 Pounded on Twitter says, "Hey Davey, love you so much. You're seriously my favorite Survivor of all time."
Warm from my heart.
Yeah. So do you think that this season is going to
Oh,
come
they
down
recycled my
to
health.
a good old David versus Goliath? We have a lot of underdogs as well
No,
as
no,
people in
no,
great
no, no,
positions.
no, fuck off.
If you're talking about epicness, probably not. But I mean, yeah, I could see it coming down to, I don't know.
We're going to the wasteland?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really see too many people. I don't really see anyone as like a Goliath per se, though, other than maybe physically Danny. Most of these people seem to be more David oriented than anything. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna see that.
Okay. And then, Davey, my last question for you. Megan Scanlon says, when Rob put out the form asking the patrons who we wanted to hear from this season, I noticed several people said Davey was at the top of their list. How does it feel to be so loved?
Man, it feels amazing, Rob. And I gotta tell you, like, I was not able. I mean, I've always been able to be myself, but playing Survivor and seeing the response from the fans about me being myself allowed me to blurt out loud, so to speak. Like, look at me, I'm freaking ass ketchup on a podcast right now. I would never do something like that before Survivor for my friends to see me online somewhere and what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You know? Like, I can do this out loud now and post it to my story and get great response from it. So, I say all that to say, be careful, guys, when you're saying these things to these players, JD, he did his best out there, don't be cruel to the contestant, because we go out there and we give it our all, and we give ourselves, we're ourselves, and having response from the fans matters, and I say all that to say is I really appreciate it, guys.
All right. Davey's got a lot going on. Okay. We've got the TikTok. at I Hate Davey.
Man, and I gotta apologize, guys. I don't hate myself. Let me explain the I Hate Davey thing. So, and I don't know if this is a black culture thing or not, but when something is very funny, we will say, oh my God, we will laugh and say, I hate you. As in, stop making me laugh so much, you're making my stomach hurt. So that's what that is a nod to. It's just a play on words. I don't hate myself. Don't worry, guys. Everything's fine.
You can still follow, even if you love Davey, you can still follow.
Exactly.
At least these guys are like,
Funny thing, that was my name
fuck,
on
still haven't
Instagram.
understand.
Alice's mother was in my comments after every picture was like, I hate you. So I changed it on Instagram for Allison's mother. Ooh, shout out to Allison. Married soon.
Damn it.
Shout out Dr. Allison. Yes, another North Carolina survivor.
Yeah, man. Gosh, dude, you guys ready to have another, live and know-it-all? Yeah.
I thought about doing one here as like my housewarming party.
That would be dope, dude. I'm definitely here. I'm down.
Okay. All right. Well, we gotta look into the venue here, but maybe that might be a good place for when we come back for a live show. And then, David, what else do you have going on besides TikTok?
TikTok. We got the Sweetheart thing that's gonna happen. We got the event Wednesday. Make sure you guys go to the link in my bio to RSVP for that. I got a lot of cosplays coming, stay posted on my Instagram. I don't know what I'm gonna be for Halloween just yet, but I've got about 3 or 4 builds that I'm juggling and trying to figure out. You guys see my Game of Thrones build right here? It's one of my favorites. This is Sir Beric Dondarrion from Game of Thrones.
Wow. Okay. Davey, when you talk about your builds, what do you mean by that?
I mean, a build is basically just a new cosplay that you might be working on. Like, I've got this Ash Ketchum right now. I hope whenever I purchase a home that I'll be able to have the mannequin stand-in where I can just use my cosplay. Yeah. I can, like the Batcave. I can have my own Batcave where I can have my cosplays right there displayed for me, and I can just pick them up and going out in the world.
Davey, why Beric Dondarrion out of all the Game of Thrones characters?
He was so cool with his freaking eye patch and his sword that would light up. It was just something that I knew that would hit. And I went to watch Game of Thrones finale at a live event that also was a costume contest.
Yeah.
And I thought, what in this costume contest could I get the crowd going at? And so when I got out there and my sword lit up.
Oh, you had the flaming sword too?
It didn't actually light up.
Oh.
I had orange and red papers in my hand, and I did it, and it went everywhere.
Yeah.
But I won the contest, so hey man, so Barry did it for me.
Yes.
Fuck off. Wait, they really made me go all the way over here just to go back?
Right.
We love it. We love the paper by your sword. Exactly. Okay. Well, Davey, I really appreciate you coming on and making time to do this. And again, people love hearing from you, so it's such a treat for everybody, especially me.
Dude, it always seems like whenever I come on, it's the perfect episode for me to talk about. Like, last time it was Island of the Idols, and Jamal it was the whole do-rag incident.
Oh, okay,
and I shed some light on that. This time I was able to, just uplift beautiful black women and Liana and Chantel and just speak about their experience. And then Netflix, it happened. And,
we didn't have no idea that was.
This was not planned, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Rob, anytime, man, whenever you need me here, I'm there. And dude, whenever you get ready to do that thing in North Carolina, let me know. That's right now, real front.
Okay. All right. Well, Davey, thank you so much. And everybody go check out Davey on TikTok. And Dave, we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Sounds good, man.
All right, everybody, there you have it. Davey Rickenbacker. And this interview with Davey was sponsored by our friends over at Geico. Do you want to run your home
What is this? This is the...
This episode is brought to you by
Don't really care enough to listen to that. Because I'm at the point now where I really don't care enough to listen to Survivor coverage on everything. Yeah, especially modern, like the current season. It's like I really don't fucking care. I'd rather listen to Redemption Island. Talk from the story.
I think the thing to remember is that you're right, Mario. Probst was so high on the season, and look, diehard fans especially, for the most part, usually will pan a season as it's going on because they expect or want more of this. But usually, as it's done, they're generally
Are we
okay
gonna
with
make
it, or they're like, okay, maybe not the best, but
barely made it.
can't. People did not like this season. Like, I want people to really understand this concept. When this season was going on, hardly anybody was happy with it.
Yeah, and the Boston Rob win, if anything, kind of saves it. Because now you have a popular winner. But, okay, this will delve into a list I wanted to talk about it. Before we get into the season, I just want to lay the cards right on the table for everybody.
Oh, don't apologize, Mario. Everyone who is stuck for the however many episodes of Historians now knows that in episode 1 of a season, we literally don't start talking about the season until like an hour and a half into the episode.
All right, that's fine. It's a historian's tradition. So, we'll talk about the big discussion question right here at the start. Let's name all the reasons why people hate this season. Let's brainstorm. Why did people hate this season at the time? Why do they hate it now? Let's just lay them off. Let's go around the room.
What do I need?
What's a nominee? What do you think people hate about this season?
Boston Rob leads an alliance of zombies who don't do anything but follow his lead to the very end.
All right, that's one. That's a good one. What else?
The cast is sizzling and sparkling,
There we go, this
just
one.
like Sarita.
Fuck, we don't have anything.
Jay, what do you got?
I have Russell, but Russell in 2 ways. Number one is, I can't believe
Rusty
they have
Nail.
Russell back on Survivor. And the second one is, not enough Russell, he was gone too soon.
Yeah, exactly. It's a double whammy. People who hated Russell hate the fact we got to see his stupid face again. People who love Russell hate the season because there's no Russell in it. So, you can't win either way. And this ties into number 4, another reason people hate the season and hated it at the time. Philip Shepard, the specialist.
Oh, boy.
And I will say, he was the discussion for the first 10 episodes of the season. This is all people talked about, and nobody liked Philip. So, okay, 4. What else do we got? Any other reasons people hate this season?
I mean, we just spoke for 10 minutes about why the concept of Redemption Island sucks, so I think that's a pretty big one.
And I will say Boston Rob winning. Again, it's popular because Boston Rob's popular, but so many people to this day still say, oh, that season was handpicked and handed to him on a platter, and they basically gave him a win, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that is the perception of the season. Another reason why people hate it.
Yeah, though I will say at the time, that was very much not the case. Because we had yet to have a returning player win a season where there were only 1 of 2 people to come back. So I remember I, at the time, was actually rooting for Boston Rob, because I'm like, he couldn't do it the last time. I don't know if he'll be able to do it this time.
I was too, but I did buy into the argument when people were like, oh, it's, I did until the finale, and I'll get, when we get to the finale, I'll explain that there. But I am going to defend Rob in a lot of ways as we go through the episodes here, because I think that for a lot of what we're talking about, I think that Redemption Island is such a marked season as far as how Survivor is going to go from here. It's a very good temperature taking season as far as how things are going. But at the same time, I think that ultimately, if you want to win Survivor, you have to see what Rob does in this season. And sometimes it's in between the lines, and sometimes they don't blatantly go out and say it. But Rob Mariano plays an incredibly smart game here, and it's not just, oh, he was handed these zombies and did everything he said. They did what he wanted to for the most part, but there was a reason why, and we will get into that.
What else? Paul, any other reasons you can think of why people hate the season?
Maybe at the time, I don't know that people go back and harp on this too, but I think it is also, up until this point now, we really now are going to be committing to using the same location twice, and, not just, we had it once in Panama, that kind of weird, the Panama Exile Island thing, but again, I think it kind of is moving into this new era of, we're going to recycle locations, and then instead of, having a location name, we're going to really, throw everything behind a new concept. I think there was some of that, something I remember at that time happening, and we're going to see that, through, for the rest of the show's history. So that's something I remember from the time.
And maybe a corollary to the Philip point is, oh boy, can't wait for us to get to the Rice Wars episode, which is just one of the ugliest episodes in Survivor history. And I think even at that moment, anyone who was a fan of the season even will admit that was not a very good look for the show.
Okay, one thing that I have wanted to mention we haven't brought up yet is that at the time, now this is obviously seems silly now, but at the time, this is season 22. We've just finished Heroes versus Villains, a huge iconic season. The perception is that Survivor is getting silly here. And it's probably on its way out. Like, this is the show on its last legs, where we have these two guys who are bigger than the show, having commercials featuring them. Like, and you have to remember, Bobby John and Stephanie came back once and did a very similar season, but we didn't even know they were in the cast until like the day before. It's entirely built differently on this season, where these guys are bigger than the show. So the perception at the time was the show's getting silly. It's on its last legs. Now, it's funny looking back at that now, 20 seasons ago and 10 years ago, we're still going. But at the time, I think that's another reason people hated the season. It's like, well, I guess we're jumping the shark with this one.
I mean, and I talked about this too, I think we finished up our coverage of Heroes versus Villains. It takes quite a long time for them to do a true bounce back, and I was someone who thought the show should have ended at this point. Like, this is what we're doing. This is, you know, the new era of Survivor we're really welcoming here is just, you know, bringing back, you know, we're not confident in our ability to create new stars of the show that we're going to cling to some, you know, people we already know. So I agree with that, Mario, as well.
Are we forgetting any other reasons? I want to make sure we name all these now before we get into the discussion.
I mean, I guess on that note is that, going back to Paul's point, like, also the fact that there are some people that are interesting in the cast, but they are on the tribe that gets outnumbered, right? And that it's like, okay, there are interesting people on this show, but they're all going to finish early jury, and we have to have 5 to 6 episodes of just Ometepe cannibalizing each other.
I just thought of one more thing I wanted to mention here. This is something I feel very strongly about. We went through a phase here, starting with Samoa, obviously, maybe even a little before that, I don't know, where we go through here, and it kind of ends next season with South Pacific, where there's very much a narrative in the show, and the show defends this and seems to celebrate this, and I'm always surprised this didn't get more flack this time, that the optimal way to win Survivor is take 2 moron idiot girls with you and make fun of them and ride them to the end. And that became a very strong narrative, and again, Russell won fan favorite while basically saying that. I got my little bitches here that don't know shit. And he won fan favorite saying that crap. And that became a very accepted narrative on the show. And, you know, Rob kind of does the same thing here. He just doesn't say it in so many blunt words, but that's his strategy. This became a very, I think, not good look for the show for a while. It was a very sexist way to present your show. And it kind of gets dispelled in South Pacific, where we have one of the most hilarious endings ever, and it kind of dispels that. But I think people forget that. We went through a phase here where that was very much what Survivor is right now.
Yeah, I guess the another downside of it is not necessarily about the season, but like what it represents, which we'll get to many hours from now. But it somehow makes players believe that this is the way you're supposed to play the game. Which, I mean, one of the reasons behind Philippines, which I'm excited to get to eventually, is, you know, one of the reasons why they switched to 3 tribes is because they sort of perfect the model here of, okay, to win Survivor, you make an alliance of 5 and a tribe of 9, and then you just stick with it until the very end. And that's how we get 3 different winners. And so I think...
And even further than that, Mike, an alliance of 5, but a sub-alliance of 3.
Right, that's right. I mean, Philip Shepard is really going to quote that in the quote-unquote VR rules coming up in his 2nd season.
Yeah. So as you can see, there's a lot of things going on with the season that are just much...
I could just fast all that way, but whatever.
Oh, this season sucks. And like, that's why I said we're so fascinated to talk about this. And what's funny is, like, I remember I was very much drank the Kool-Aid at the time. This is silly. This is the end of Survivor. I don't even know how it can last much more after this.
Oh, fuck. That costs a lot of money.
We were all
Holy
talking.
shit.
We were just watching the first 4 episodes. We prepared 4 episodes for this podcast. And we're all like, these are fun episodes. And I was actually shocked how old school some of these episodes feel, especially the opening, which straight out feels like Australian Outback with the opening. I was shocked.
I forgot they were in the helicopter to start off.
Yeah. You got Probst banking, the helicopter banking, and him sitting in the back in the dangerous seat, the suicide seat. Like, wow, this is very old school. We don't do anything like this on Survivor in the 30s and 40s. So I think time has personally been pretty good to Redemption Island, even though it's still not very popular. I don't think it's nearly as bad as people claim. I don't think it's anywhere near the worst season, personally.
Yeah.
No, I can't wait to
Do I not have
dive
those?
into Survivor Rob Mariano Island. Let's do it.
And that's what I will add as well. I completely agree with Jay that, like, I don't know if this is a hot take. I think Boston Rob is a
What?
really good character in Survivor Redemption Island. And
Yeah.
it's tough because I believe,
Yeah.
you can fact check me on this, I believe he holds the record for most confessionals in a season for the U.S. with this season because they just keep going back to him. So I can totally understand the fatigue from it. But especially watching through these first
As
4
Russell
episodes,
does.
it's like, this dude's
Most
been
from a
so
winner, though.
charismatic ever since his days on Mataamu that now he gets to come around with this very different perspective of like, I'm the old guy watching all these youngins bumping into each other. But he still sort of is caught in this old school mentality of like, okay, I need to figure out how the hell to find a hidden immunity idol. He has a lot of fun this season, especially in the first half, which I enjoy, especially compared to some of the other characters we get on this season.
Just anecdotally, I was gonna say what a great narrator he is. This will be quick, but anecdotally, I was just watching the season and taking notes last night, and my wife is kind of walking around the house, not really paying attention, just listening. Almost every time Rob speaks, she's laughing. I just hear her laughing. When Rob's like, "Well, good thing Philip was so fat, so I could see the clue in the chair." Like just little things like that. I forgot what a great narrator he is.
I think an argument can be made that Rob Mariano, you could make an argument that he is the face of the franchise when you're talking about Survivor. And
I think modern
that's
day,
not
yeah.
something that happens like, oh, well, it happened after All Stars, or it happened after Heroes and Villains, or it happened even after Redemption Island. I don't know if any of that is the case, but I think that he emerges from this, and he's sort of the face of the franchise. But I was trying to think about why is that? Because yes, this is his, 4th time back on the show, and whatnot. But other people are going to be on, like, this is Russell's 3rd.
Third in 4 seasons.
Right, and Rupert, for God's sakes, who was you could argue was one of the most like singularly popular survivors in one moment at one time. He's been back for like 4 seasons, and Rupert, I would argue, is not the face of Survivor, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I think the reason is that not only is Rob so likable in this turn as it comes, he wasn't maybe in earlier seasons, but Rob adapts, and Rob has shown a capacity to learn and grow, not just personally, but just within a season. Whereas Russell and Rupert, it's the same. Like you just rinse, repeat. You drop them in the season, they do the same thing every time. And I think that Rob sort of, we can see the generations of Survivor adapt through Rob and just how he has aged and how the game has aged and all of these things personally. And to me, Rob becomes the face of, you could say he becomes the face of the franchise because of this season, and it's because of the inordinate amount of confessionals he got. And it's not just that he won, but also he's really entertaining.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the perception at the time. And again, you would have asked most Survivor fans in 2010, whenever this came out, I always forget. But yeah, like, what do you think of Boston Rob winning Survivor? And there's always the big die-hard Boston Rob fans that would have said, yes, about time. Like, thank God. But like the vast majority of people would have just rolled their eyes and said, well, duh, you give someone 4 tries, eventually he's going to win. So that was the thing. But that perception changed over time, and I agree with Jay.
I don't
That's
think
the
that's
thing.
incorrect.
Boston Rob is the face of the franchise, and he earns it this season. As much as you don't like the narrative, there is a narrative, and I'm going to steal a quote from one of my favorite survivors of all time, Dan Foley. You may not like the facts, but that doesn't change the facts.
Can't wait till we get to that season. Keep going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, worlds apart. We're going to film that. Okay. Anything else to say in the preamble? We'll go to the episodes here. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak. Paul, anything else? As the youngest, what were your thoughts at the time here?
I was living in Germany at this time. I was studying abroad and had kind of taken a step back from podcasting a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just was conflicting in a lot of ways because it just felt, like you said, where was the show going? And I didn't really have a lot of faith in what was happening with the show. So
anyway, we're
pretty
gonna
down
end.
on it, I think, overall,
Next time we
but I
come
was
across
busy,
the save point.
living my
that's
best
gonna be-
life in Europe, so
yeah, we're gonna
don't
have
feel
to
too
go
bad
around in a
for me.
circle.
But I do feel, I'm not putting words in everybody's mouth. Everybody actually found these first 4 episodes really fun, correct?
Yes.
I think the first episode hit, we're like, oh, hey, wow, this is like pretty good.
Yeah, I think there's still, cracks of what is not good about this episode, this season showing, right? Like, let's look at the first 4 episode titles. We have one from Philip, one from Philip, one from Russell, one from Boston Rob. Like, that's all you need to know about the way the editing of the season is going. But I think that it's an interesting shading of characters. I think there's some interesting concepts going on. It introduces arguably the strongest storyline of the season, which is the Matt Elrod storyline. And it's also, like, my other hot take about this season is I think Zapatera is by far the more interesting tribe. And that's why, another reason why I don't like this season is, God, I just wish Zapatera could be the league, because, like, there's so many interesting personalities, there's more diversity, there's so much more infighting going on amongst this group, even during the pre-merge, only for the post-merge just to get mercilessly wiped out and essentially eradicated over the course of a few episodes. But even despite all the Philip, Russell, and Rob, and despite the fact that basically all the storylines on Zapatera specifically are about Russell, it succeeds in spite of that, in my opinion.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I thought the same thing. I would really like to see more Zapatera footage. It's so similar to Samoa with Galoo that it's like striking. Like, Russell really just was such a camera hog, they could not talk about anybody else on these tribes.
Yeah, but Zapatera reminds me of, like, you know, like Galoo was a pretty decent tribe.
I don't think they're as bad a tribe as you say they are. I think there was a lot of potential there. I just think they get undercut because the story doesn't want to give them credit for stuff, personally.
Well, and also because the narrative they want to build up is you threw a challenge to get rid of Russell, and that was where the problem you had.
Which is such crap. It's such crap. That's such crap. We'll get
Yeah, well, but and which is also tough though, because another thing that I really enjoy about this first group of episodes, to be completely candid, they shit mercilessly all over Russell Hands. It is so interesting that you completely tell that, as impressive as some of the stuff Russell did in Heroes vs. Villains, that he benefited so much from nobody knowing his game, to the point where he comes into his
Yeah, but then no one's
where
gonna know his
everybody
game.
knows
Let's
his
give
game.
it season.
He has no
Hold on.
momentum.
Yeah,
He has no strategic prowess. The thing that he is known for.
Oh fuck! I just overwrote the wrong one, but who fucking cares? It doesn't
You know,
matter.
in one of the first episodes,
Whatever.
it's just a
One's here.
huge downslide of Russell.
So
in terms of
might be back
reputation.
tomorrow.
That's another reason why
Might
we want to
not.
cover
We'll
these
see.
more episodes.
Tonight I'll stream on not this, but an actual live stream. Yeah. Thank you for watching.